And that British guy that hasn't been on the podcast since October 2009.
Hey, what's up? It's a podcast.
God, that's going to kill me all day trying to think what that's from.
You don't know?
It's a girl talk, right?
No.
What is that?
It's Daft Punk.
Oh, yeah, okay. There we go.
What song is that?
I don't know what song it is.
Is that on the
Defunk?
Is that on
he
the
says.
tutorial level of DJ Hero?
I don't know.
I think I've heard that 5 billion times, and it's probably from that game.
That was big thanks to Teddy J.
Brandon is joining us today. Brandon, you played DJ Hero?
Yeah, I own it.
Really?
Yeah, remember we got that game, and everyone thought it was really awesome. Then you buy it, and so it's like, oh wow, this is fun for a minute.
It was hard though, like doing all the spins and stuff. I gave up pretty quickly.
That's Griffin Ramsey giving her opinion.
My opinion is I give up.
No, I'm just trying to introduce everyone as they talk. Oh. So we got Bernie, Brandon, Griffin, and Gus.
What's up?
Hey, everybody. I'm a little froggy today.
The double B's and the double G's.
Yeah.
What's up? So I hear you punched a girl in the face.
Yeah. Oh, she deserved it. In fairness to me, she kicked me in the chest about 30 times a couple hours before.
Why?
Monty was kind of capturing motion.
Kind of capturing motion?
He wasn't really capturing. He was just like recording the way this actress moved as a reference for animation. And a part of that was her beating the shit out of me after Monty kicked me in the stomach, which was awesome. And we have the video of that. And so later that night, I accidentally somewhat had my face or had my hand hit her face accidentally.
Accidentally.
It's not like I left a mark.
I gotta find this video of you getting kicked in the stomach now.
Listen, dude, that never explain that away by saying it didn't leave a mark. That's not the way to make that right.
We had been drinking that night, and she went from my phone to look through my photo album, and I rigorously wrestled that away from her.
Do you at any point in this explanation do you want to use the word accident just to throw that word in there?
She actually accidentally fell and hit her head on the door. I call my fist the door.
Yeah, when you say you didn't leave a mark, like it almost makes you sound more practiced. Like at hitting girls.
No, I'm just saying, like, we were just scrambling for the phone. It was just like a ruckus, and
I put some soap in a towel and beat her with it. That'll teach her to finish her PT slowly.
I apologized profusely. I felt really bad about it.
So you explain who we're talking about.
I apologize to her. I'm not going to apologize to any of you.
I'm not looking for an apology. I want to see the pictures, though. Let me see your phone.
I hadn't heard this story at all. Like, as I was getting set up in here, and I mentioned that I was going to ask you if you want to be on the podcast, Jack was like, ask him how he punched a girl in the face. I was like, okay.
So wait, what's on your phone? That's the important question.
Right, exactly. So obviously you had to get this phone away from her. It was very important.
That makes so much sense that you asked that, because I obviously didn't want one person to know it was on the phone. So of course I'm going to explain it on a podcast.
You don't have to show us. Just tell us. Describe it.
You might not want a girl to see it, but it might be okay to show someone that you work with who's not a girl. So don't show Griffin.
Along with everybody.
Show me, and I'll determine whether or not Griffin can take a look at it.
Along with everybody that's listening. No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, listen.
Man. Now it's my goal to get that phone from you.
So
password protected.
You're so concerned about what you have on your phone.
Yes.
That you punched a girl in the face and didn't leave a mark.
If it's password protected, why did you punch her?
The phone. If she was going for the phone too. If she would have just been like, you can have your phone back instead of stealing it from me, none of this would have happened.
So your phone is password protected then? Or
it
not
is password protected.
So then she couldn't get to the pictures.
Well, no. I was showing her a picture, and then she took it from me. And it wasn't like, hey, let me see your phone. It was, ha-ha. Like, she grabbed it.
Yeah.
And then I got frantic, and I was like, no, I need that back. Do not go through that.
So I'm pretty sure in the time that I've known you, which is just a few years now, you've lost 2 phones.
No, I haven't lost a single phone.
No, you lost. Well, you
definitely lost one.
I lost one for like 4 or 5 days, and then no, I broke the first one, right? And then I lost the second one under my couch.
So back to my original correct story. You've lost 2 phones.
No. You don't lose it if you find it again.
Do you have it? It leaves your possession. It leaves your don't leave a mark striking range, right? I mean, that's how far away your phone gets from you. So why would you keep anything on the phone that you're worried about
If you lose
if
it,
you lose them so frequently.
I don't lose them frequently. I didn't lose either of them. I broke one, and the other one was in my apartment.
Yeah, but still losing.
Nevertheless,
you can't
it's
find it.
password protected.
Then you trust that. All I'm saying is you have this mobile device
Yes.
that you're keeping obviously very sensitive materials on.
Yes.
Is it new sensitive materials?
So are you a spy or a pervert?
Can it be both? Like, why are those
That-
mutually exclusive?
that's a great question.
You can be a spy pervert.
It's true. The sneaky pervert.
So
I have since made the deletions from my phone.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Oh.
So why?
I don't
so
trust
then
any of you.
why don't you give us the phone?
No, I'm not. I don't.
Why don't you? What was the
There's, like,
problem?
B-level stuff we can't see.
Yeah, there's other stuff too. I mean, there's just like a lot of conversations you have with people that you don't want other people to see.
I'll just look at the photos.
The other day, I'm leaning towards pervert because the other day I was out
I
here.
didn't disagree with it. I just said
I was out here in the state. I was out here getting coffee in the morning, and Brandon walks up and goes, "Hey, I put a picture of your ass in your folder on the network. If you want to check it out."
I'm not the one who took... No. So I was going through our cards to clean them out, and the first picture I find is just a picture of me, I don't know, messing with some boxes, and I was like, who the fuck took that? And then the next picture is the same place, and it's Gus's ass. I didn't take the
Whoa.
picture. I was just making it available to Gus.
That's not a nice surprise, right? You're just like clicking through and
Dude,
all of a
I've
sudden.
seen Gus's ass so many times.
But in my defense, I don't know why I'm defending myself. When I finally did look at the photo, I determined it wasn't me because my Atari tramp stamp was not on that person.
If you go back and
So
look at
whose ass do we have?
I
in
don't
the
know.
photo?
It's in my user directory
up
if you
for
want
me.
to see it.
But it was like looked
No,
enough.
it's huge. It's like a 20 megabyte raw file.
Can I? Can I ask you
It
a
was also
question?
shot in raw.
Which is the highest level format? What is
Right.
that? Like 4,000 by 2,200
So
resolution?
it preserves a lot of the color information and a lot of the exposure information
Yeah.
for optimal ass display.
Was it 4K though? Was it how big
No,
was it?
no,
Oh.
no. But I was doing camera when we came in on Gus and the food immersion. And I don't know if you remember that, Gus, but you
Vaguely.
stood up with your pants down at your knees. And I was working camera, and I was like, I can't turn away.
There was a,
And then we were editing it.
You had to focus and zoom.
Yeah, we were editing it. I was trying to cover it up. I put like I don't know, something covering it, and then Chris was like, no, it's
No,
way
it's
funnier
way
if we
funnier.
delete it.
I
was like,
agreed with
no,
Chris.
it's not. So we kept going back and forth and having to watch it and rewatch it with just Gus's bare ass. It's ingrained in my brain, which is why I was sure it was you.
You
know,
recognized it.
I thought I was like the expert.
you know what's worse than that? We were doing ages ago when Gavin was staying with us. We used to do these dumb little videos, and we
Oh,
did
yeah.
one called Rain Run, where Jeff hurts himself running in the rain because
Right.
he had to compete with us. And at some point, like he came out of the shower and he drops the towel accidentally. Or he's like moving it, and he completely flashes full frontal Gavin, who's running the camera, and then Gavin later has to edit it. So he's trying to like put this sensor bubble or something over Jeff's dick, and he like frame by frame, like
Had to go
without looking at it somehow.
I'm sure it was a very small bubble. Didn't take many pixels.
Be great if he accidentally looked at it and then Brandon runs from the room and punches him in the face. But it's an ongoing thing now. What are we looking at here?
It's loading up.
Oh, it's loading. It's
Set
we're going
image.
across the network. Just loading up the preview on my laptop across the network is taking a while.
Yeah, that'll be
So
slow
it
on the
looked enough
Wi-Fi.
like your ass to make you actually have to scrutinize it.
Well,
like-
I was curious. I was like, who's taking pictures of my butt?
No. He wasn't. He was disappointed afterward.
Yeah, but whose butt looks like Gus's butt? Like I can't. think of
I
one.
was actually a little insulted that Brandon thought that was my butt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. This is where it comes down to. It was not a good butt.
If you want to see, I've got it over here.
It wasn't Gus' butt.
I can't see it all.
I have no idea what that is. I don't even see that. That doesn't even look like a butt to me.
Oh, it's somebody leaning over.
I got it. Yeah. I don't know what. I have no idea what that is.
I'll put it in the link dump so
You-
people can investigate for themselves and figure out whose butt it is.
We might have to protect someone's identity. Maybe you can upload that to Google and it'll tell you who it is using your little app thing that you wanted to.
Oh man! Speaking of which, did you hear? I heard this great website. I forget what the domain is. I'll look it up. But someone rolled out a website where, like, let's say you get your digital camera stolen,
Let's say that.
and
Let's say you lose your iPhone.
you want to get your camera back. There's a website. It's stolencamerafinder.com. You can upload a photo that you took with your camera before it was stolen.
Yeah.
And it finds the serial number in the metadata, and it goes through like Flickr and photos on the internet and finds other photos that were taken with that same serial number. And you can find if there have been new pictures taken with that camera.
Really?
And see them if they've been uploaded
That's
to
cool,
the internet.
but isn't now terrifying in a way? Like, I love technology and I love everything that's possible, but it's also frightening. Like, you can you can't get away with anything. Like, there's
No.
If somebody wanted to find you, they could find you. Like,
Doesn't the iPhone store location on the images that you take?
Yeah.
When you take pictures, it says where.
The first time you launch the camera app on your iPhone, it asks you if you want to let it use location services. And if you hit OK, then GPS coordinates are embedded in photos.
That is surprisingly accurate too. Like it'll go to what room in the house you are.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Google Maps, it's like, oh, it's on my property, but it's like in the corner where I am.
Yeah, like and on the Mac, it's super easy. Like you pull up the info on the photo, and there's like a GPS tab,
Yeah.
and you can click like Show Map, and it like shows the crosshairs and zooms in on Google Maps and shows you exactly where the photo was taken.
People do that location services on their tweets too, which I just
Yeah.
I don't like all that stuff. Did I ever tell the story about this was a few years ago when I bought my wife a new car, and I do that kind of thing for her. Like she didn't go. She just told me what car she wanted, so I went and bought her the car because I figured I could talk to the sales guys and she wouldn't get railroaded. But they learned that I was buying a car for my wife, and there's that stupid fucking process when you say, okay, I want this car. I'm going to buy this car.
and it still takes 4 hours.
What is that? What are they
don't know.
It's the
doing?
worst. They're sweating you out.
Yeah.
I think you should go and be like, listen, I will buy this car if we're done by this point.
I have tried that.
And it doesn't work?
I've established a price on the phone before I go to the dealership, and you're still in that back room drinking shitty coffee for 3 hours while they do whatever they do. I think they're just running a background check on you or something like that. Anyway, then they pull you in after, like, you sit there and you watch, Jeff always says you watch Maury Povich, which is exactly right. That's what you always watch when you're back there. And so I'm back there watching Maury Povich and drinking shitty coffee, and they call me in, and they go through the typical stuff like extended warranty, undercoating and all that garbage that you always say no to. And the guy says, well, you're buying this car for your wife? And I said, yeah. And then he, like, pulls out his computer, and he shows me this thing. He says, we can add to the car a GPS tracking device. And herein, you can subscribe to the service on the web, and you can follow
Oh, God.
your car. He goes, normally we just offer this to people buying cars for their teenagers, but a lot of spouses, if you're buying the car
Jesus.
for your wife,
God damn.
you can see where she's gone and how fast she's gone and how long the car stayed parked somewhere and all this. And I was like,
my
Oh,
God.
my God.
and he goes, it's $750. And I said, yeah, but I think I just saved $750 because I trust my wife. It's
Yeah.
like such
That's
a
so shitty.
weird, creepy conversation.
I'm surprised
they,
his sales line wasn't, it's legal.
It was pretty much like that. Yeah.
Is there an iPhone app that you could log in and check that information?
Yeah, I mean, you could track somebody pretty easily if you wanted to. I mean, you could. I mean, you can track your iPhone anywhere where it goes,
Using the mobile me.
Yeah, using mobile me. Yeah, just see. In fact, there was some hubbub about that where people just realized that, like a week ago or two.
Well, yeah, it's more that the location was actually stored on the phone in a local database file. So it wasn't so you could see it remotely, but if someone recovered your phone, or I guess if someone dumped the data off of it, they could see everywhere you've been.
Do you know that they can? With the FBI, I read this about. It's a big part of I don't know whatever the organization is that tracks down organized crime, but they can just take a cell phone in a room and they can just turn it on.
Oh yeah, I think.
And it becomes
I heard about that,
It just becomes a broadcasting. Like they can just say, okay, we know the serial number of the phone. They work with the carrier, and they just turn your phone on and listen to you.
Yeah, even if your phone's off, the microphone, they can still activate the microphone and listen.
Yeah.
Like the only way to defeat that is to actually physically pull the battery out of the phone, or not have a phone there,
Or not have phone.
at all.
Be like Paulie from Goodfellas and only talk on payphones or face-to-face stuff where nobody has a cell phone in the room.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable. We were looking at the Google satellite view, and we saw our building, and it had been painted. And we only painted our building probably about 4 months ago. So within 4 months, they refreshed that view. How often do they have access to that satellite? Like, it's not real time, right? Like, Google just can't just watch people walking around. I mean, does anyone know how that works?
Supposedly, Obama was watching the operation live with this Osama bin Laden operation. That's military stuff, though.
You posted a picture, I think, right, in your journal?
Yeah, where they're in the Situation Room.
Yeah.
That was a crazy photo. Mm-hmm. That was really crazy.
But were they getting updates, or did they have, like, a live camera feed?
They don't show what they're looking at. And in fact, there's a piece of intelligence that's on the table that's very clearly blurred. And, from what I understand, they were watching it live. Now, I don't know if they're watching it from, like, an overhead satellite view live, or if they might actually be watching live video feed from, like, the shoulders of the guys.
What I read, and who knows if what they're saying is true. From what I read, they couldn't actually see first person view. So when people entered the compound, they didn't know what was going on. There was a bit of darkness.
And they said, do you hear the code name they had for Osama bin Laden?
Yeah, Geronimo.
Geronimo, yeah.
We were thinking about naming, if we have a son, Geronimo Ramsey.
Really?
Oh, they say
Yeah.
Bin Laden Ramsey. I was like, I don't know.
Osama bin Ramsey.
I think this is a fairly recent satellite photo of our office too, because the only person parked in front of the building is Matt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we have a policy that everyone should park off on the side of the building to save the front parking spaces for visitors.
Correct.
And Matt.
Is he in a handicap spot?
Matt parks in the front all the time. No, he's not in the handicap spot in this picture.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Why is he immune from that? You think he just wants to park in front of
He
the
probably
building?
just wants to park in front.
I parked in front today just because we're running
saw
out of spaces on the side.
We are.
Yep,
We need to paint some more spaces or something.
we do.
Oh, I'm going to Home Depot today. I can buy some traffic paint
That'll work. Okay.
in a roller. We can do it.
Do we have to do it yellow?
Well, all the others are yellow. I think it'd be better to keep it consistent. Wait, are they white?
Yeah, I think they're white.
I'll buy whatever
have
we.
any?
I thought they were yellow.
I'll buy whatever we have to
Okay.
match. Okay.
And I can imagine these are going to be the shittiest lines ever if we're painting them.
No, I have experience, and they're not going to be shitty.
You experienced
yeah?
painting parking spaces?
Using traffic paint. Yeah, because I did that.
What did you do?
I did playground markings.
Oh.
That
Oh,
project
right,
for UT. So yeah, I did that recently.
But that was child traffic,
But
not
we
car
did lines.
traffic.
We did lines. We did like Foursquare and shit.
Foursquare? That's an actual game? I thought it was just an app.
Did you really never played Foursquare as a kid?
No.
Are you serious? Did you ever go outside as a kid?
No. I was allergic to everything.
Yeah.
If I went outside, I'd die.
Yeah. Other kids, they play games together.
What's
And that's
Foursquare? Is
one-
that like
and that's one of
hopscotch or
them.
something?
Foursquare is awesome.
Yeah, you have a ball that you like bounce, and you start. There's like this. You start in one spot, and then your goal is to get all the way around the squares to get to the king spot, or I don't know what you call it, but like you have to get to like the fourth square, and then you're like running the show.
So there's 4 squares?
Yeah, you serve. I think when you're in the fourth one, right? You're the serve. You serve.
Yeah, I mean, you have this bouncy ball, and basically you'll slap it, and it'll hit the ground and go to another person. Then it'll have to slap it back at someone
Yeah.
else. So
And
if
it's
you
like-
mess up, you go back to the.
Yeah, like if it hits the line or goes out, like you're out.
And then you get $20 million in venture capital funding as part of that. Is that going to last? That was, I remember you and I, Griffin, got on Foursquare, the application.
Yeah,
We got on at about the same time and gave up.
you gave up because I was winning.
I gave up in like 3 days. That is the shortest I've ever used any trendy application ever.
I used it until all of my friends stopped. Like they blocked me on Facebook because they were sick of getting the alerts to find out where I was. and
Yeah,
stuff.
when I was using it, I never linked it
Yeah.
to that.
Isn't the point just to be the king of one place?
The mayor.
Yeah.
Mayor. Yeah.
I was the mayor of some cool places too.
I was the mayor of the IMAX, which was like the lamest mayor of all time.
I was the mayor of the coffee shop next to our old office.
I was the mayor of my allergy clinic.
That was,
Yeah.
one,
Really?
that was one of the problems, though. You could basically log into anything that was within a half mile of you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't have to.
Yeah, Nathan would always he did it, but he only would log into one place, and it was like someplace near his house. Some lame what was it? It was like a convenience store or something.
It was like a Jiffy Lube.
I
He's
don't
there
know.
once a day.
But because it was in his area, he would just log in there at weird times.
Yeah, it's funny because we just were talking about being tracked and how that's such a bad thing. And we look at how people are so willing to track themselves for everyone and then put it out there.
The internet's almost completely flipped from when I started using it, in the 90s, where everything was anonymous and that was what was great about it. And now it's everyone really wants the attention. They want people to know exactly where they are, what they're doing at all times, who they are. It feels like there's a big shift at some point.
No, yeah. There's even been talk about making people have IDs on the internet. Like you have a registered internet ID so they eliminate anonymity, which there'd be absolutely no way to enforce that. You know?
There was a website a couple years ago, I think it was called Rob Me, and it was just this guy who aggregated all this information of people who were saying where they were at if they weren't home. And
Yeah.
the whole point was, look how stupid this is. Somebody can just come in and rob you. And then people got mad because they're like,
Thanks for pointing out the obvious.
But that's something we always worry about,
The kind of related to that, last night I was reading the news and I saw that. Have you ever seen that store? There's a place like Aaron's Rentals. They'll rent to own furniture and computers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I see them all the time. Apparently, somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think it was in Pittsburgh, this couple bought a laptop from Aaron's or rented to own a laptop and then decided to buy it. And there was a mix-up, and Aaron's thought they didn't pay, so they went to repossess it. And when they showed up to repossess it, they were like, you're using this laptop, you haven't paid for it. Look, here's pictures we have of you using the laptop. And they'd install spyware on the laptop so they could activate the camera and take pictures of them without them knowing it.
Wow.
oh,
God.
man.
And they were like, we already bought this. And they proved they bought it, and now they're suing Aaron's for installing this
They should.
spyware on their computer to take pictures of them whenever they wanted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, part of the reason what you just described is why I never buy or sell used computer hardware. Mm-hmm. And I know I lose a lot of money by not like even selling my stuff, but I'm just convinced that someone can just extract data on it, that I'm going to be the guy who I'm going to wipe my hard drive 7 times or whatever that military formatting is that they do. But I'm going to be the guy who sells my 8-year-old, PC to like some Croatian hacker. You know what I mean? It's like he just happened to be the guy who lived down the street that bought it,
Yeah.
So like I don't understand why I'm the only one that would never want a PlayStation Eye or a Kinect. Like I don't want to put a camera that's connected to the internet, just like sitting there, just watching me in the living room.
Yeah, you have a
I do
MacBook.
things.
Yeah,
I do things there that I don't.
Do you cover the cover the camera on your laptop?
No, I don't.
I do. Do you?
No, I don't.
I wish it had a cover on it.
Yeah, that'd be nice if it had like a little sliding cover.
Yeah. I cover it from time to time.
Yeah.
Like I go through phases where I have it covered, and then when I have a video conference, I take it off and then forget to put it back on.
Yeah, whenever I'm jacking off, I always make sure it's covered.
Do you really?
I'm just kidding. I bought some cool software for my laptop that allows you. I think we had talked about this before, not on the podcast though, but it allows you to track your laptop via a website.
Yes.
And activate the camera so you can see. So if your laptop's stolen, you can activate the camera so you've taken it, screen share it without them knowing, see the screen, and then you can also flash warnings. Like if they take it into the store to get it repaired, and they leave and you see someone using the laptop, you can flash a "please call me" message.
Was there a thing too where you could have it just start shouting?
Yeah.
Like this is a stolen laptop, and then the person can't shut it down, so they're in like a coffee shop and your laptop essentially starts calling for help. I don't know this person. Help me.
That's my purse.
But it's so funny you're talking about like what you were saying earlier about like crime and I just it's hard to, after our experiences with trying to get our crime issues taken care of, I don't think people are like, there's no one monitoring, like unless it's like some major crime thing, like I don't think that any of that stuff gets used.
Well, I think it's more like you would know where it is. I mean,
Yeah, the reason I got this, so like I see on a map where my laptop is. I have pictures of who's using it.
No, I think it's great that we have all this
It's like
stuff for
do
us.
it yourself as opposed
But
to.
that's like when Jack got robbed, the only reason that they caught that guy is because you figured it out.
Right.
And even then, after
Detective Cirola, Austin Police Department.
after you got all of the information to the cops, it still took like weeks to get them to even do anything
Months.
about it.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I'm pretty sure he was arrested for something else, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't know how much we supposed to talk about. I guess it's
Yeah.
already
Fuck it,
done.
who cares?
But it's already said and done.
Yeah, that's just bizarre to me. Like, or
It was sad when he got when he got the death penalty, though. The fucking electric chair.
But it all goes back to the original point, too. Let's say they do have all this data. Let's say people track where we go and watch what we do all the time. Who the fuck's going to parse through all that? You know what I mean?
Like, you aren't that interesting. No one wants to know.
I'll tell you what's really sad. I had a laptop stolen, from me. I had a smash and grab. And I, like Brandon, with his phone, punching a girl in the face for wanting to look through his photos. I realized when the laptop went out, it was going in my head. I go, what do I have on there? And I had a way to like pull out the email and all that stuff. So, and I don't archive. I'm one of the best people at like getting rid of stuff. After a short period of time, I only keep like very recent stuff on there. And so I knew I didn't have anything dangerous or damaging on there. And I realized that's pretty fucking boring. I got nothing. I got nothing dangerous on my laptop. It's like I'm not worried at all. I slept very easy that night, and I was disappointed by the fact that I could sleep so easily after my laptop was stolen.
what is the worst thing you've ever done?
What is the what? Why would I tell you that? What's the worst thing you've ever done?
No, I asked you first.
What's the worst thing
How
I've ever
old
done?
are you?
Have you ever committed a crime? Shut up.
Oh yeah, I've committed
People
a crime.
love these games.
No. It's just your logic of I asked you first. Like,
I've
that's
committed a
just-
crime.
Oh, okay. How is that not a valid?
Let's incriminate ourselves here on the podcast.
Come on, it's.
I've committed many crimes.
I mean, has everybody at one point committed a crime? I mean, that's a pretty kind of a broad
Well,
time.
wait, when you said that you had
I
committed
was
a crime.
speeding this morning.
Were you? Did you
Yeah.
get a
Cops
ticket
are
for
out
it?
today. That's the fun.
Did you get to work on time?
Wait, is it a crime if you don't get caught? Let's get a clarification.
Yes.
Fucking cops and like here's the thing. Like,
Oh, look at she starts off with fucking cops.
no.
Oh shit.
No, I'm really upset with Austin right now because we're talking about the whole crime thing and how we still haven't heard back from the detective that was apparently on our case. But there's like 80 traffic cops out today, like all over Austin. It's like very motivated to pull us over and give us tickets while we're paying. I don't know.
That should be a separate force. They should not have people who enforce traffic laws be police officers. Like they should be
It should
a
be
separate
like meter maids
Yeah,
almost.
because
should be
you
a
don't-
separate designation.
Because you don't want to like Yeah, because right now we're going through like talking to Millie, like, okay, well, if you're ever in trouble, find a cop or whatever, or find a police officer. But at the same time, we're like, when we're in the car, we're like, oh, there's a cop right there, like sounding nervous. And what kind of impression are you giving the kids if you're like, everyone's kind of scared of the police?
Why are you nervous?
No,
What are you trying to hide? What crimes have you committed?
I'm not. I'm just like,
What's the
mean,
worst
like-
thing you ever done?
A lot of, traffic stops can turn into something worse. A lot of times those,
Especially if you try to go
those-
through your phone. Watch out.
No. Like those high speed chases often start with just a simple traffic stop, and then people freak out because they have something or there's a warrant out for them.
I'm one of these days. I'm doing that. I'm just gunning it. Because the cop's waiting for it, right? As soon as the lights come on, he's like, "Is this guy gonna go? Is he gonna run?" Those penalties are getting stiffer and stiffer for people who run from cops and then get in fatal accidents. That's always terrible, dude.
There's one here on the street by our office a couple weeks ago here on South First.
A fatal accident or a high speed chase?
Both. It was a high-speed chase that ended with the person running from the cops, plowing into a bus station and killing someone.
Good
Or
lord.
a bus stop, I should say.
Yeah, man, that's terrible, really terrible. But I agree with what Griffin is saying. Is that because we all unknowingly break traffic laws all the time, or we think we are. It's like I'm not confident in my driving skills. Where if I see a cop, I go, "Oh, he's gonna whatever I'm doing wrong right now. I have to stop."
Yeah.
That's my first initial reaction, and it does lead to whenever I see a cop, my initial reaction is, "Oh shit." And that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I should be like, oh, thank God there's a cop around in case something happens. I should feel safer, but I don't. I feel like I'm about to get charged $300 because of my bad luck.
Well,
or something
it's
like that.
indicative to like the world you live in. Like, you don't live in a bad neighborhood. You don't work in a bad neighborhood. You don't feel like there's crime around you where you need a cop. So when you interact with a cop, most likely it's going to be because he's giving you a ticket. But if you lived in a bad neighborhood whose crime was rampant, like if you lived in that world, I think your perception of cops would be different. But now a cop is just, oh, there goes $300.
Professor Brandon over here fucking breaking it down.
I'm just saying, like, it's just.
I don't know if that's
you're in a different
always-
What are
world.
the sociological implications here?
You don't know what my world is like. You don't know. You're making assumptions.
The guy who has nothing incriminating on his laptop.
Yeah, what's your world? Where the model from Tennessee picks up your phone?
You can't handle it.
Police! Help me!
You can't handle this shit.
She saw my before pictures.
You saw Brandon 1.0.
Is that what it was? Can we ask questions about what was?
No.
Was it photos? Was the concern?
I'm not answering anything.
Just answer.
Oh,
just
come
answer.
on.
I'll ask three
If they're
questions.
gone, if they're gone anyway, what the fuck do you care?
It's true.
Flesh?
I just admitted to being a criminal.
You never told me
What
why.
did you
What
say?
did you
What-
do?
didn't
what was
ask.
your-
I
guys-
did ask. I got like.
Moment's gone.
She asked first, Bernie. That's a law.
That's the law of the playground.
I'm curious if the main thing I'm curious about is, are they photos that you took or photos that you added to the phone?
They're not
Say-
of me.
say
They're
pho-
not embarrassing photos of me. That's all I'm going to say.
So you
okay.
took them.
I'm not. That's all I'm saying. That's it. End of discussion.
Why?
Really?
Like, why not tell us? You would be more interesting if you told us.
Well, then I guess I'm not interesting.
Yeah.
You know, you're interesting. You just be more interesting yourself.
That's just like the dumbest logic.
It's not the dumbest logic at all.
You're not coming to my birthday unless you answer this question. It's the same thing.
Why come in? Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Why come in, sit in on the podcast, and not fucking
I
say
didn't
anything?
bring it up. I didn't come in here and be like, I have such cool stuff on my phone. I didn't bring it up.
You're fine about talking about hitting women. That's like just rolls right off the tongue. That's fine.
I swear, officer, I didn't leave a mark.
It's not going to affect her model.
Hey, she and I are cool.
I didn't leave a mark. Look, I have a picture to prove it. Don't look at it. Is there anyone here who hasn't committed a crime?
I don't know. Carrie, maybe, because
How
he's
do
so
you-
young?
How do you get to your teenage years and not commit a crime of some
I
kind?
really wish that I had. Like teenage years, I didn't do. I was very, very good. But why? Like that's the time to do things and get away with them.
Carrie may not have
Listen
committed
up, kids. Never leave a mark and commit as many crimes as you
Yeah,
can when
before
you're a
you turn
teenager.
your-
Once you're 18, all bets are off.
Carrie may not have committed a crime, but he's been there for crimes because I've seen his friends and they're all punks.
He's got some cute friends.
No.
The guy with the mohawk.
He's dragging them in. Listen to this. Listen, random people that come visit us. They're friendly, nice people.
No,
You're like,
they're punks. Like
they're pugs, they're
one of the
criminals.
kid came and he hung out with us a while. Then when he left, I was like, Carrie, I don't like the way your friend talks to you.
You're like his mom or something. You can do better, Carrie. We just want the best for you.
Felt like they were going to come here and start skating all over our property.
Are you an old man?
Kids.
Right. Yeah. Listen, Brandon does not like people his age or slightly younger. He does
Wow.
not like them at all.
That's not true at all. Where are you getting that from?
No, you don't. You really
Oh,
don't.
where is that from? What?
I'm getting that from all the experience I've had with you talking about people.
About who?
Come
on,
Do you want
what's
to get
up?
into it? How
Yeah.
about every person you worked with at TSTV?
No.
And how you think they all work so hard and they all take care of administrative stuff and they helped you so much while you were at TSTV.
I love those guys. They drove me crazy, but I still love them.
Hey, Brandon, I'm thinking about paying one of the new interns. What do you think about that process?
No, that's a whole different thing altogether. You do not pay interns in this business. You upset the balance
There we go.
of the world.
Because why would you pay somebody for their time? What the hell? Brandon, man, he pitched a fit when I was talking about that. He's like, no.
Oh,
I can tell. I saw the fire right
actually,
now.
I've been wanting to talk to you about that.
It's like when you give $20 to a homeless person in downtown. We've seen what happens there. When
Listen.
everybody comes calling.
Listen, I don't know what to say about that. We talked about, that was part of the video podcast where we talked about that, right?
Yeah, he was not here. Yeah, it was a video podcast. It was.
We
the
talked
last
about
one.
how I would give money and talk to the homeless people, and it drove everyone
yeah.
else in the office crazy.
Roses?
Because Rosie is
Rosie.
his name. Yeah, it was a guy with one leg who sold roses, and I got to be fast friends with him. And
He still owes us that fucking leg.
Gus and Jeff didn't like that a bit.
The guy. I would sometimes leave the office and walk to my car through the alley just to avoid him because I knew the alley was too steep for his wheelchair, so he couldn't be back there.
The guys at Jimmy John's didn't like me either because I would go to lunch with them sometimes. I'd buy him lunch, and they'd be like, "Don't bring him in here. We hate him. He's an asshole." In their defense, he was an asshole.
He was an asshole.
He
Big
ate
time.
ham and tuna, right?
No,
Like
no.
a fucking penguin.
He couldn't. He had weird dietary restrictions where
He could only eat ham and tuna.
he couldn't eat. We go to a sub. I say, I'll buy you. I don't know if I can say his name. Let's call him Rosie. What the hell? I said, I'll buy you lunch, Rosie, today. I said, what do you need? And he goes, get me a tuna. And I said, and he goes, they know the way I'll like it. I said, okay, you got it. And then sometimes he'd come with me, but he would eat. He couldn't eat bread of any kind, so he would get just a big lump of tuna. That's what it was. It was a big lump of tuna wrapped up in a sub wrapper. That's what he gets. Brandon's right.
At Jimmy John's, they'll wrap it for you in lettuce or something though. Like I forget what they call it.
He was probably pretty picky. He probably didn't like the lettuce.
Oh my god. It's okay. I'm sure you can say his name. I'm sure he's not listening.
I'm sure he's not either, but who knows? I don't even know if the name that he gave me was his true name.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't get his real name either. Yeah. He's like a lich or a magical creature. If you know his true name, it defeats him.
Interesting dude, though. I mean, you don't know how much what he said was true and all the times I talked to him, but I mean, while we were down there and I knew that guy, he had open heart surgery, which how the hell did he pay for it? I have no idea. And he had a girlfriend, broke up with her, found a new girlfriend, and got married. He got married.
That's all bullshit.
How
That's all
do you get
bullshit.
married?
I saw the lady. Well, maybe my kid said that was her. You know,
That's her across the street. She's working in the law office.
But he
I
got.
waved to her. She's in the third floor. She lives in Canada.
You wouldn't know her.
Oh man, what a fucking character.
We
But
met
somehow
on
I
a cruise.
Somehow I still believe it too. Like I always think that even no matter what a guy's position is in life, there's always a woman for him. You know what I mean? Like he can always find somebody.
That's
Except for Brandon last night. We had a couples thing and he couldn't get it together.
I know.
We invited you if you had a date and
I almost took to Twitter to find you a date for that.
Should have.
Would that have been embarrassing?
No. That would have been so awesome. I'm sure I would.
Are you looking right now for all the ladies listening?
I am not looking.
for the 5% of our listeners
Yeah,
that are
now
ladies
that you know
listening.
the hits girls, if anyone's interested,
Dude, when I put up
Brandon's
that
available.
14-year-old picture of myself, or myself as a 14-year-old,
Yeah.
there's some ladies who commented.
Don't ever use that voice, please. That's so fucking annoying.
Wait a minute. They commented on you being 14?
Yeah, they're totally into it. So I got a lead. I got some leads.
Do they know that you're an adult now?
Yeah, they understand that.
That reminds me of something I saw last night.
This is a weird conversation.
I saw on YouTube, I guess National Geographic Channel has this show called Taboo that investigates like weird things that people are into.
Yeah.
And they had this segment, which is on YouTube and I'll link to, about this grown man who I think is 28 who only acts like a baby when he's at home. He dresses up, he sleeps in a giant crib that he made, and he has this woman that lives with him who's like a nurse and who takes care of him and acts like his mother. It's really weird.
So I think you're right. There's somebody for everybody.
There is.
That's when I saw that's exactly what I thought. I was like, I saw that woman like come in, and I was like, "There's no matter who you are, you can find someone."
What are the Matrix brothers, the Wachowskis?
Yeah.
Didn't one of them hire a dominatrix to dominate?
Well, one of them is now a woman.
Yeah, that was the one. Before he did
Yeah,
that, he
Linda
hired like a
now.
live-in dominatrix.
Yeah, that was his. I
mean,
wouldn't say his wife, but she was his longtime partner.
Who has the time for fetishes?
You know,
If you have
Like, how
the
do
money
these things
for it.
develop? I don't just like that. Seems like so much work to me. Like coming up with like a weird sex fetish that I have to like.
And then this guy built his own crib, built his own high chair,
Yeah, that
and
just
like
seems-
it was a lot of work. Like, I mean, he did a lot of shit to make it happen. It's playing right there. I don't know if you can see it.
It makes you
That's the
happy.
guy.
It makes you happy.
It
Well,
gets you off, I
the,
guess.
the one thing I like about the internet too is that, like if people like something or have a particular interest, especially like a weird fetish, they can find another group of people who like that as well. Which is like that's a good thing, I think, because if people are like harboring these things and then they feel like they're alone in the world, that's where I think bad shit happens. You know,
Yeah.
when people feel isolated and they feel like they're an outsider. But if I mean, if they, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, if they can do whatever they want to do. But I'll admit, there's sometimes I'm like, I hear about all this stuff. I don't think I have any fetish at all. Like, I don't think I have any of them, like, on any level. And that's another thing. Is like, am I completely uninteresting that I don't have any of these things?
Yeah, you got nothing on your laptop. You're
You're
not a sexual deviant.
Like, I'm a New York Jets fan, and the Jets coach is like doing these feet videos.
Oh man,
I
don't think we ever talked about that.
No, his wife was in these foot fetish.
What was her
videos.
username on YouTube? Was something like Pretty Feet Lady 05 or something? Or
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
You guys get nothing at all?
I'm partial to boobs.
No, I don't know. Like, what? Where's the line of what's like? What point is that a fetish?
I don't
Yeah,
know. Like,
like-
what's outside the norm?
The UT newspaper does these polls every year, and it's like 80% of UT students say S&M is their fetish, and it's like these kids have no idea. Like,
Yeah, well, there's
that's
so many
not
degrees.
true.
There's
yeah,
different
well, that's what I'm
degrees of
saying.
S&M.
There's an extent, and at what point are you really the true definition?
Well, there's like heavy
When,
BDSM.
I think
and then,
when you're the gimp and you're living in a box and you got a zipper across your mouth.
I think at the point in time when 6 out of 10 people would see something and say that's fucked up, that's a fetish.
Yeah, I think it's whether or not it leaves a mark. I think that's the main thing. That's where the line is.
Sounds like I'm good as gold.
Did you guys see the other day some people in Japan invented a box that can simulate kisses over the internet?
What?
really?
So the fucking earthquake and tsunami and radiation shit didn't stop them, man. They're still doing it. They're still, they're
shit.
still living the dream. They invented a box that can simulate kisses over the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
So like you can actually does it do everything the other person's mouth is doing?
I'm not sure exactly how it works. And it looks very rudimentary. I don't really believe it. It looks like a box with a straw. So I don't know how that works.
Weird. But that could work. Like if you could get some kind of robotic mouth that just mapped everything that but it seems weird. Like why would anyone go through the trouble? But why would anyone build a crib and live in it as a baby?
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
If you start making out with it, will it lead anywhere else?
What else can this straw do? As long as you don't hit it.
Come on, baby.
Or as long as you don't leave a mark.
Leave a mark. She was
Have you ever had
fine.
cyber sex, Gus?
No, that's stupid.
I don't know about that. Years ago, when you were still in dating, there was somebody who posted a conversations with. We were all sure it was with you. It was like a private conversation.
That wasn't me.
I
can
don't
tell
know,
you.
man. It sounded like you.
I remember who you're talking
Well,
about.
no, I mean that's different. You can have conversations.
No, but if that's
like,
the conversation that was posted, what was not posted?
Nah, there was nothing there.
there is a weird phenomenon though that in text or chat, people say things they would never normally say in person or on the phone. Have you noticed that too?
Oh, completely.
I always wonder what that is. What's it? Why is that about text?
It's because all you have to do is just, trying to mime it, but just tap some keys and hit enter. It's it. Like there's no courage in that. And you're not staring at another person's eyes. Like you can't see their facial expression. You're just looking at a computer screen. You say anything you want.
I don't know if courage is because you're still saying it and it's still you, and then there's a record of it. But I don't know. I mean, you're a writer. I mean,
That's rationally that's true, but I mean it's just an issue. You don't feel inhibited, like you don't feel intimidated because you're staring at a computer. You're
yeah.
not staring
Well,
at
and you have
another
time to
person.
think of it too. Like you have time to like put together what you're going to say instead of trying to like
Sure.
wing some like dirty talk or whatever. Like that doesn't come naturally to some people.
doesn't come naturally. You are correct. That does not come naturally to some people. But I think it's yes about the writing thing. in general, I think chat is probably the most efficient form of communication. Brandon, I know you're like this too. I hate talking on the phone. I hate people want to have a phone call. I'm like, no, please God, don't do it.
I fucking hate the phone.
I use about 10 minutes a month on my phone.
Yeah, because no one small talks in chat, you know, and even in email, there's almost a sense of formality that you have to honor. At least I feel that way, where you have to like, hello, how are you? All that. You don't do that in chat. It's like there. I mean, you know, that's all you get.
Do you mean like chat, like iChat, or do you mean like texting?
I combine both of those. Text and iChat are the same thing to me.
I think that text is different. I think when you're having like an AIM conversation or whatever, it's a lot more rapid and it's like back and forth, and you're kind of expected to respond. You know, when somebody sends you something, text I think is a lot more like you can wait a while before you respond. Like it's not as immediate. So I kind of like text more because there's a little bit less of an expectation to immediately respond.
I just like when people get to the point because people don't like, typing on their phone. It's just, don't draw things out. Just tell me what the fuck you need to say.
So I think at the same time, when you're having some kind of amorous, sexy discussion too, people are just more efficient. They don't they don't beat around the bush when they're, texting stuff.
Literally or figuratively.
Take it easy.
Like a pubic hair, right? That's
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the beating around the bush I was talking about.
Which I get. The thing I don't get is people who send pictures back and forth. You're a fucking maniac if you do that.
Come on. You've
You're
never
a
done that?
Fucking maniac if
That's
you do that.
fun though. It's fun. Everyone does it. Fuck it. Everyone does it. Who
It
cares?
is true. It is true. Everyone does it, and it's like stuff can get out there, and you'll just never see it. You know?
iPhone babes, they'll
Just
see it.
here's my solution. Just be proactive and put the naked pictures of yourself out there to begin with.
Yeah,
Just go to the Ramsey house,
God.
sit in a chair naked, and just upload it to the internet.
Get it out of the way.
It's done.
Yeah.
Well, let's,
I'm
like I said,
visiting the iPhone babes right now. Now that you said that,
I think they consolidated. Like there was an iPhone Babes site, there's an Android Babes site, like all the different phones, and I think they just combined it to like mobile Babes now or something like that.
I'm still subscribed to all the different Twitter accounts.
If you just do the one, you get all of them now. It really simplified my life. It was revolutionary.
One of the positive sides of like sending sexy photos of yourself to people is that you're now like you're required to be nice to them and not fuck up that relationship.
It's like collateral.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
There are some people that I have to be very nice to still. I'm always going to be around to be like, oh, hey, what's up? How's your day?
That's funny. It's like some kind of weird collateral or blackmail.
It's a lifetime
unsaid blackmail.
commitment.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. What's really
So who do you have to be nice around now?
Oh, you don't know him.
Wow.
also
Brandon.
these fucking jackasses too. It's like I can't believe when people post that stuff online, like after they break up with somebody.
That's
I mean,
horrible.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just like the
horrible.
worst thing you can do to somebody.
What do people think when they do that kind of stuff? I mean, it's just like, even in the short term, let's just like eject morality. You're just like putting that out there that you're going to do that, and so you're not going to get more photos from anybody else.
Yeah.
It's,
I think that the lesson you have to learn, if you're going to, what do you call it, sexting or whatever? Like if you're going to do
I
that.
hate that word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
I hate it
stupidest
too, but it's the word that has been designated as the word. So, if you're going to do
By
that,
the same people who designated the rule where if I ask you first, you have to answer. It's the same body of
that is an
people.
old. That's established. But anyway, if you're going to do it, you just have to make sure you look good. Like you have to put something out there that you're not going to be unhappy for a love that a lot of people will see. I think
That's
right?
why I had an Xbox controller in one hand, a beer in another,
You want to be represented the way
and my
you.
legs were crossed very ladylike.
So, Bernie, you were saying out of concern that other girls wouldn't or other people wouldn't send you naked photos. That's why you shouldn't do that, right?
absolutely.
I think it's like a hobby, like collecting baseball cards.
No,
You have
you're-
like this big binder of like girls that send you.
You're cutting yourself off at the knees. That's all I'm saying. If you do that kind of thing, you think you're getting back at somebody else, but really you're just saying a hell of a lot more about yourself.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna talk about this email that I received just before I came in here.
Sure.
So I got
yeah.
I got this email, and this is the most egregious version of this particular email. But listen to this, Brandon. I'll tell you what this is. Okay, so I got this email sent it to our business email address, and the title is YouTube Revenue Sharing on RVB Video. It says, "Hello, Rushi staff. I have a bit of a predicament." Sounds intriguing.
Explain, please.
I have a YouTube video that has the ability to be revenue shared. See the picture attached. But it turns out I need permission if it's copyrighted content. The video is Red vs. Blue Revelation Outtakes, and it's on my channel, ... It would be fantastic if you would allow me to make a few bucks off this video. Thanks for your time. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Also, keep up the great work. And I went and looked at the video. It's just a rip of our outtakes from our Revelation DVD.
Yeah.
And the guy posted on YouTube, and then he's like,
"Can I make some money off this, please? It'd be great."
didn't even add narration to it. Didn't add his own outtakes. Didn't make his own He added nothing.
Well,
I put your DVD up.
He deserves some money for that.
What the fuck? I mean, is that where we are now? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard, man.
I love how he just says, "Keep up the good work, so I can keep posting your content and making money." So
That's just that was just insane. That was really insane.
I can't believe that. That's crazy. Like, is it a joke? I mean, it can't be real, can it?
No, he's just a dummy, basically.
Idiot.
Yeah, that's basically what it boils down to.
I wonder if that ever works. Like, if that's worked for him in the past. Let's just start ripping every DVD we own and uploading it.
Well, listen, if people like make something, like when we on YouTube, if they take like best of moments and they make their own thing and edit their own thing, then they're doing something with it,
Yeah, like we definitely have policies where we don't enforce those copyrights for remixes or like music videos. Like we've seen a lot of different compilations that people have done with their stuff. It's really cool. I mean, they're definitely creating something new, but
I'm not send this guy an email back right now.
Did you check to see what else he had posted? Like if he had anyone else's like property up?
No, I don't care about that. I mean, I'm sure. I'm already back and say, hey, dude, it seems like a real hassle for you to have to rip the DVD videos and post them. How about if we just send you a check every time we make a video? How is that?
Does that work for you?
Yeah, can I get your address, please?
Is direct deposit okay? Or
man, I mean, it was really just a straight pull, just a straight rip of it.
That's crazy. That's really, really jarring.
Really crazy. Hey, speaking of things that are surprising, did anyone see the G4 announced their new show?
Oh, God.
Oh, tell me more. I'm intrigued.
dude, I'm super excited. It's gonna be awesome.
It's called Proving Grounds with Jessica Chobot, who you might remember from Nothing. I don't know what the hell she's from. And then Ryan Dunn, the uninteresting guy from Jackass. And they have a show called Proving Ground. It's on G4, and where they're going to take video game concepts and they're going to test them in real life.
That sounds a little familiar.
Also stuff from movies and things like that as well.
That sounds kind of familiar.
What a great idea. Wait. Go ahead, Griffin.
When does it come out?
I don't know. Sometime in June. Who knows?
It comes out last year when we debuted it at PAX East.
It was called Immersion.
Yeah, PAX East 2010 is when it debuted.
Well, they do say that they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, these ideas are just out there.
Yeah.
In the ether.
Yeah.
Just picking them out.
I guess unless it appears on G4, in which case it's the suckiest, least watched form of flattery.
If only they put it on YouTube and then rid us asking for permission to revenue share it.
It is nice to see G4. Yeah, it's equivalent of the video, right? It's the same thing. It's like, hey, you mind if we put this on? Is that cool with you guys?
Did they announce how many episodes it is?
No. I mean, why would they do that on G4?
I can't wait for the food one. They wake them up in the middle of the night and make them eat food after they're hungover.
I mean, why not just say it's going to be 1 million episodes? I mean, what difference does it make on G4? It's like, it'll come on, nobody will watch it, and it'll be canceled. Nobody will notice. So,
do you know anyone that watches G4, Brandon?
No.
Huh. I don't think I do either.
What, you can't get enough, what's on G4?
I don't know.
Drifting shows? And
What do they
Did
have? I don't even
G4 used to
remember.
run reruns of Lost? Does that sound right?
Fuck if I know. Doesn't
I used to watch G4 for reruns of Lost. Which is probably not their key shit.
Yeah, I know what they're
I'm going to G4 now. I'm actually leaving the iPhone babes to go to G4. So if my browser revolts, we know why that was.
I'm pretty sure iPhone Babes came up in the podcast whenever we found it.
Yeah.
Just as for those of you who didn't know, I think Bernie found this website and it kind of derailed work for half a day. I think it was like literally Joel and I just like scrolling down and down because you keep scrolling down on the website and more girls keep popping up. I don't know what kind of technology that is, but
You think people are getting prettier?
Yeah, because there's more like product, there's more like surgery, there's more of everything.
And people are more willing to take photos of themselves
Yeah.
and get them out there and I guess you see them, right?
It's kind of actually I've been having fun. Like never really tried that hard when I was younger, but now that I've been doing makeup for Rooster Teeth and like I'm learning about what's available and what's out there, it's actually pretty amazing. Like there's product for everything.
You're working on prettying up the worst canvases in the world. You got to make this look
But, you know,
presentable.
but the worst is that you guys fight me at the same time. Like I bought all this like skincare stuff for everybody and told them where it was, and nobody wants to do it. Like you won't let me touch your hair.
No,
Joel,
that's my thing.
yeah, but Joel fights me too. Like Joel will be like telling me like how much makeup to use and like don't touch my hair. And,
who
like,
didn't wash their face?
That-
Oh yeah, you said that the other day.
I don't want to like. don't
Do
want
it.
to. I don't want to embarrass
Do it.
them. Yeah,
They probably don't listen to the podcast anyway.
is that okay? It's somebody from your team.
That's fine. I don't care. It's probably Chris.
The silent signals that are not translated across the podcast.
So anyway, if you would like to encourage them, we have. I bought a bunch of like skincare. I labeled it for people under 30. I labeled the other stuff for people over 30.
we have that hand sanitizing station upstairs. Maybe that person could just put hand sanitizer in their hand and rub it all over their face next time.
But we have a bunch of like exfoliants and stuff. So if you
Hobo shower.
we can like. I was just there for people to use right before they would put makeup on. But if you want, like, if everyone uses it daily, it'll make your skin look nicer, which means less makeup and looks better on camera. So I'm just putting that out there.
Sounds like a lot of work. That sounds like girl stuff.
It is work. Girls put work into looking good.
Yeah,
Men should do the same.
I know.
I work on making my bank account look good. That's the male equivalent.
Well, girls do that too.
Okay.
I've been tweeting lately about my man chair that I have that's in my house. My wife and I have been going out a lot more lately. We've made more of a commitment to do that, and also, it's just like after 9 years of babysitting every night, my wife's like, "Get me out of the house." But I've been tweeting about the man chair, which is the chair that I have in my bedroom that I sit in whenever I'm done getting ready to go out, and I have to wait for her to finish getting ready to go out. I was actually pretty happy. We were 2 minutes late getting to the restaurant last night to see Jeff and Griffin, which I think is in a window of acceptability for being late. And that's
Within
also
2 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 minutes. That's
we
nothing.
were there at 8:02,
That's crazy.
and that's good for us.
Parking
It really is.
parking was actually challenging around there. So
Yeah, well, we used the valet because that's a restaurant where they built a restaurant, and I think they have about 8 parking spaces for that restaurant.
How can they do that?
Who knows? Because we couldn't do it when we moved in here.
They wanted us to have an astronomical number of toilets at first.
well, we thought that, but we talked them down. We thought we had too many, but they're always full here. Like there's so many times where all 3 bathrooms are full.
It was gonna be like one person per toilet.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
it was a
You
ridiculous
could
number.
label it.
So
Like I was going to put a desk on one of them and just work there because we were going to have so many.
The crazy thing is, we were talking the other day about the initial plans for the building and how we had the renovation all laid out initially. It turned out entirely different than what we expected. I mean, just because we had to modify for building code and toilets and things like that.
We actually like the way it turned out, so thank you, City of Austin.
And it's one of those things where it sucks when you're going through it, but in the absence of all that stuff, it's garbage. You have to have that because we're complaining about. We went to a restaurant last night, and they only had 8 parking spaces for the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it would suck, man, if you lived in that neighborhood that's right behind that restaurant. The cars just line the streets,
Yeah.
parking to go to that place.
Yeah, I used to live behind a popular restaurant off of Lake Austin over there, and it was the same deal. The street was always like parked cars on each side. It was terrible.
Griffin took us out to a really cool thing last weekend, like on Saturday.
you mean when I took you to places that we couldn't even sit down at, like the bars?
Well, it was a fun part of town. Did you go with us to the dinner and all that stuff, right?
Oh,
Brandon?
I was there.
Yeah, and that
That was
same
when
kind
the
of
incident happened. The
yeah,
phone
yeah.
incident.
Oh, right, that's when you were knocking people out.
I was talking to, I was upset when we went to a bar and Griffin's like, okay, guys, this is where we're going, this is where we're drinking. I'm like, sweet, I haven't had anything to drink yet. So I went to the bar, opened up a tab, get a drink, and then I come back and everybody's leaving. I'm like, what the fuck? Where are you guys going?
Yeah, but there's nowhere to sit.
Yeah, and where do we go after that? Where do we sit down after that?
Yeah, no, it was. I was actually surprised. I haven't been there. It's just been a few months since I've been down to those bars, but they've like tripled the number of people that are there.
My tab is still open there. I did not go.
Really?
You didn't?
They gave me my card back, and I was like, I am not going to go back there after I told this guy that I'll be back for more drinks and tell him I'm leaving.
If you don't close your tab, they close it for you and give themselves like a $20 tip or some standard.
They're not going to give $20.
They
don't
might.
do that.
They might.
I worked at a bar. They don't do that. Not a bar, a restaurant bar. Let's
Yeah.
discuss
The,
it
the,
more.
the,
Let's
the,
discuss
the,
it
the
more.
Bennigans?
The
All
Bennigans.
restaurants-
Bar and grill.
All restaurants and bars have the same policy, so you're probably good.
They're not going to put $20 on my...
I would.
Anyway.
You're not going to sweat it.
No.
You're not going to spend any time worrying about that.
Not
are you?
2.0.
Good, I like that. Let that shit slide right off, man. Forget it.
I thought you were working on 2.1 now.
Yeah, I'm working on 2.1.
You're not there yet. How do you know if you're there?
Abs.
Oh, okay.
You gotta say it like that. That didn't come out right.
You're kind of
That's really manly.
You're diminishing the power of the abs
Yeah,
by
I
making
know.
that noise.
He's trying to get down to his 14-year-old fighting weight. Is that where you're headed now?
Yeah.
Why are you posting pictures of yourself when you're 14?
I found an old picture of when I was in junior high. You guys had pictures when you guys were babies, right? On your profile.
Younger.
Did I?
You were like
yeah, there was like
Oh,
a phase
yeah.
where like I think everybody posted a baby picture. I thought the 14-year-old version of myself was pretty funny looking.
I just thought what you did is kind of like as a goof.
Yes, as
Okay.
a goof. It was
Well, the weird
just,
thing was you were
look,
reacting
picture.
positively, like, look at these ladies.
Yeah,
Like,
look it up. I'm getting positive attention here.
I mean, if I posted a 14-year-old
was the-
picture of myself and a bunch of ladies showed them, were like, that's super hot. I'd be like, woo, who the fuck are you people doing this?
We were making fun of how there's just like no girls that listen. So the girl reaction I did get was somewhat creepy. So
Okay.
win-win there.
You know, I met somebody who was actually a friend of mine's father who had been married for a long time, let's say like 14, 15 years. They got divorced when my friend was in his teens. And he had remarried this lady, and they'd been married for years before I met them because I met him later in life. And I went over to their house, and he had a picture on his desk of the new wife, right? New, but they'd been married like 10,
Right.
15 years at this point. But the picture that he had of her was when she was like 20, 25, in that range. And they're now in like their mid-50s at this point. And I thought, you couldn't have possibly known her when she was 20 or 25. And it seemed, does that seem like a weird thing? Like that was the picture he chose to be the marquee picture for her, was younger when he didn't know her?
When she looked her best.
Well, but he didn't know her. Yeah, it's like I would have a picture, like I have pictures of my wife when we met, but I wouldn't have pictures of her when she was like 18.
I think
why wouldn't-
the one picture I have here on my desk of my wife is probably, it was before we met, and she must have been like 21 or 22.
How old was she when you met?
27.
So you have a picture of your wife on your desk of a younger age than when you ever knew her.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was talking about you, so I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't actually, so that's interesting.
It's kind of depressing, but funny.
Can you go get the picture so we can look at it?
Sure.
Because that would make sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my mom passed away recently, and when I went to the funeral, we had a bunch of photos and everything up of her. And there was one, I think it was her graduation picture. Like I had never seen it, and when she was 18, and it was a very pretty picture. And at some point, Jeff noticed that somebody that she knew, like this younger guy that they had been friends, came up and looked around, made sure no one was looking, and took a picture with his phone of my mom at that age.
Yeah.
And it really creeped me out. Like, it really creeped us out that he was, like, taking some picture of her when she was younger. Like, who knows why he did it. Maybe he was doing it to show people that they knew together. I don't know. But it's weird, right?
That seems creepy. I was going to say that seems insanely sweet to me.
Sweet?
Yeah.
I don't know. Man. Like, she was
Jeez,
18.
I mean,
like,
I need a frame for it.
Your wife looks this age now. Like I mean, I would have guessed she took this picture yesterday. Yeah. Your wife, if that's your wife and she's 21, your wife is aged extraordinarily well.
I don't think it's weird to have pictures of people when they're younger if you know them, like, if they're people that you care about.
Can I just borrow this and let's take
Oh,
Take a
take
picture.
it easy.
What the hell's wrong with
Take it
you?
easy. Let me tell you something. Brandon's taking a picture of
That's
Gus's
it. I gotta
wife.
punch him in the face.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Gus will leave a mark, too. So
See this ring? Fucking, it'll leave an impression right there. So,
Did you see the photos of Gus and Jeff that were sent in by a fan? Did we talk about that from DreamCon?
oh no, I haven't. I keep meaning to make a journal. I haven't made a journal about it yet, but someone sent me pictures of Jeff and I at the first ever convention we ever went to for Rooster Teeth. It was back. It must have been like in April or May of 2004. And we've told the story before about how when we went to the first convention ever, we didn't know what to expect, and we did a panel, and I brought some merchandise in a suitcase and we sold it in the hallway of the hotel. And you can see pictures of us selling stuff in the hallway of the hotel, and you see the suitcase that we're selling stuff out of
That's cool.
in these pictures. And I look like I'm 15.
Yeah. You and Jeff both have improved with age.
I look fucking terrible.
Was it the buzz cut? Buzz cut?
Yeah, it's awful.
I actually came down after you sent the photos out via email. I came down to specifically tell you and Jeff that you guys look better now 7 years later than you did then.
Jesus, it was jarring. It was crazy.
I said that they looked like, if you ever saw the Far Side cartoon where the sheep is going on the blind date and the boy sheep's at the door and the mother's like, oh, look who just got shorn today, and he's like lost all of his wool and he has little bandages all over him.
Yeah.
He looks like he just had all his wool shaved off. That's exactly what you guys look like.
I would say I look like Christian Bale in The Machinist, I think. Like just a fucking walking skeleton.
It was nuts. And Jeff is like all ears.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't often notice about Jeff.
It was
you guys had the same barber back then, I think, right?
yeah, we did that old barber shop off of Old Torf just east of Congress.
He used that, what's that vacuum thing called? The Flowbee?
Flowbee.
Flowbee? Yeah. That's what he used on you guys.
Yeah, that guy retired a long time ago. But it was crazy. I'll make a journal, and hopefully by the time I post this podcast, and I'll link to it and show some of those pictures.
Look at this. This is a photo of my wife. That's when she in that picture. She's holding Teddy. That's like right after she had Teddy. She looks 12 in that photo.
Yeah, she looks really young.
It's crazy, crazy.
Did you? I feel like this isn't getting much press, but did you hear that?
The Bin Laden thing, yeah.
And I was
Really getting swept under the rug.
What happened to Bin Laden?
Sony had a second intrusion on one of their networks.
Oh, say what? It's down.
Sony Online Entertainment got hacked this time.
Really?
Not PSN.
Man, they're targeted.
Yeah, and it wasn't as big of a deal, but I guess like 24 million accounts were compromised this time,
Jesus.
and like 12,000 credit cards and 10,000 bank account numbers were taken.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, they're definitely being targeted.
It's so funny. I read an article when that was all going down. And Brandon, do you want to have a response here pretty soon as the official Sony fanboy in the office? But I read an article that somebody was saying that in the wake of the Sony hacking attempt or intrusion, that Xbox was beefing up their security as well, and they're making announcements about it today. And it was like just a normal "don't fall for phishing" like announcement that Xbox 360 put out there. Wasn't anything like they were trying to like say this was on a parody thing, and it's like, don't give anyone your birthday, don't give anyone your password. It was a very innocuous, lame security announcement. I was like, what are they doing here?
I don't know if it's related to the PSN outage, but I'm very happy that Hulu finally came out on the 360 last Friday.
I stopped caring about the PSN outage once Hulu came out.
The second I got Hulu, I was like, that's it. I'm all good.
Yep.
Take your time, Sony.
Why was Hulu on the Sony network?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's almost exclusively what I used my PS3 for, was watching Hulu.
Yeah.
Jeff was really excited. He came home. He's like, "Hulu's available," and he went to try to watch Wipeout on the television because that's what he and Millie watched together. And of course, you can't get it on. You have to have to go to your computer for that one.
Yeah, they have a weird. Well, I mean, I'm sure it makes sense to them. They have a tiered system where some stuff's only on the computer, some stuff's on devices, and some stuff's on mobile, and it could be any combination of those three.
Everything that he wants to watch is only on the computer, so it hasn't benefited him.
Wait, can you see those on the phone though? He used to be able to watch those on the
wagging
phone.
your finger at me.
Because I'm angry at you.
Me?
Oh,
I'm
shit.
I'm legitimately angry with you.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, I actually do research for the podcast to have things to talk about. You would never guess it by how many things I get wrong, but I actually do research. One of the things I did for research is I like making fun of my wife and Griffin as well for liking young guys like Robert Pattinson and all that stuff. So I'm on my treadmill. I got to watch something. So I think, I'll watch this shitty show, Supernatural.
Oh, you love it.
I'll watch this show, and I'll watch these hairless guys running around hunting ghosts. It's going to be the stupidest thing I ever watched. The fucking show's great.
Yeah.
And now
it gets bad, though. It gets so bad.
And now it's like 6 seasons, and I'm like, the first scene
You can
in the
stop
pilot.
at 4, don't do it.
The first scene in the pilot is awesome with the mom and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, fuck, now I'm fucking hooked on this show. And I wanted to watch it and hate it and make fun of Griffin for it, and now I'm watching this stupid show.
The show is good, but it derails, and when it derails badly. And I'm committed because I'm going to keep watching it. I'm in like halfway through season 6.
Yeah.
And it seems to be getting a little bit better, but you may not want to watch past season 3. Like
Where
1 and
was
2 is
this
really good.
show on that it lasted at least 6 seasons? Is it still on the air today?
Yeah, season 6 is happening now.
Okay.
I think.
Where does it air?
I watch it like through Zune, so I don't know where anything is.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where anything lives. Like, I have no idea what day of the week Modern Family is on, but I watch every episode of that show.
When it just shows up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tune into a new episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia if my life depended on it. But I've watched every episode of that too.
Supernatural airs on the CW.
I was going to guess
okay.
CW.
CW used to have Veronica Mars, another great show. I think they had that.
God, I like a CW show.
But I know I love that. I
guess
it's great.
Last week, it just got renewed for a 7th season.
Oh, really?
For the 2011-2012 season.
Hopefully the second half of season 6 will be better. I hear according to Twitter and people on Twitter, it gets better. But they also told me that season 5 came back, and that never happened.
McGee is one of the executive producers.
Yeah, isn't he the executive producer?
Yeah, executive.
I've been trying to find you can get calendars, but they have their clothes on, so I didn't see the point. But I'm trying to find a poster of them. At least Dean, because you think Dean's better, right?
Listen. The reason I like the show is not the reason she likes it.
You've just gotten dragged in.
I want to make this perfectly clear.
You're fucking
Actually,
torn down.
Sam was better. Like in the beginning, Sam was my favorite. He was cuter, but he got less cute.
Okay.
I'll
be ready for that. I'll be ready for that.
This might be the most
We'll defer to your expertise.
Luckily, that won't take me off guard.
might be the most relatable conversation ever on the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of people watch that show.
Really?
A lot of people do. Yeah.
6 seasons. Somebody's watching it.
Yeah. People are into it.
I mean, hell, they cancel everything these days, especially if it's got a sci-fi premise.
It's like if you took Buffy and X-Files, mixed them together,
Don't-
but had two hot guys taking their clothes off the whole time.
And
Don't
then
use Buffy and the
And they've
X-Files
got
against me.
every episode has a new hot, and every episode has a new hot chick, and it's like they're breaking
That's
hearts across
true.
the country.
It's very true. Like the whole first episode, they had like one of their girlfriends was like in shorts the entire
I don't buy
time,
it. You've changed.
and a half
Brittany.
shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You've changed.
I've changed in what way? You haven't known me very long.
Yeah.
Because my favorite show of all time was Felicity on the WB. I wore that like a badge of honor. But now I was so vindicated by that because I was a J.J. Abrams fan, and I kept talking about them when Alias came on the air. I was like, this guy fucking J.J. Abrams is fucking awesome. He makes all these awesome shows.
You knew the band before it got big.
I owned JJAbrams.com for a while. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that. That's funny though.
I did. I owned JJ, and I just let it expire because
Curses.
I wasn't going to make a fan site.
Yeah.
So I'll go look right now and see what's on JJAbrams.com.
Have you taken a look at the interactive Super 8 trailer that came with Portal 2?
I don't watch trailers.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
It's not watching. It's more
You
like
don't watch trailers?
walking around
I
in
don't
the
like-
trailer.
I don't like to either because you find out way too much about something.
Yeah.
You know, the new Harry Potter trailer came out. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I will watch Harry Potter because I already read the book, so I know what's happening. But I don't like seeing like trailers of movies that I'm interested in seeing because then I don't know, they're just too long and they should you can guess everything from the trailer sometimes.
Totally
Yeah,
agree.
but I mean, like, you know, you don't really. A lot of you don't know if you're interested in a movie.
I'll tell you why I did this too.
You know the title.
This is why I changed my policy on trailers. When I was 16 or something, like I went on exchange to France, and so at some point my host family had a bunch of movies that were like American movies, but they
foreign exchange.
yeah,
Okay.
and they had a movie that was it was an American movie, but it was at the bottom they had like French subtitles, and I didn't know based on the title, like I didn't even read the title. We just put it in, and I was watching it halfway through. I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know what this is, but it's amazing. And then I found out late, like about halfway through it clicked. For some reason, I didn't pick up on it earlier, but it was Shawshank Redemption, and which I hadn't seen yet. And after that, I was like, I love just watching something and then not having any opinions formed already for me, because at that point I'd already heard, oh, it's such a great movie, it's so amazing, and I would have had like my expectations set at a different level. I mean, that movie would have been fine anyway.
Yeah.
But since then, I don't want to know about it. I don't want people to tell me too much.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're not spoiling things, but they always do.
It's true. They're even spoiling stuff when they say, I'm not going to spoil anything, but wait until the last 5
Yeah,
minutes. You're like, you
God
fucking
damn it.
dumbass. What are you doing to me?
Fucking
Yeah,
hate
now
it.
you're expecting something or you're looking for it.
Yeah.
It changes the way you think about it.
Yeah.
That's what I always say about whenever we make narrative content for the web too, you don't realize what an impact having a progress bar makes on the way people view things.
Yeah.
Because just knowing where you are you have a sense of that when you're sitting in a movie theater just because stories tend to have a very, very similar structure. But you can still have moments in there. Like, you can have a 1 to 2 minute, subterfuge that goes on where you're doing something with the audience or playing with them a little bit. And if you still have a minute left on your progress bar in your video, they're like, oh, I know something else is coming. I'm watching
Yeah.
this. It's weird to have that constant reminder. But I guess books have always had that. You always have more pages left.
Yeah.
But that's almost like a progress bar too, though, when you're reading a book.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Books
yeah,
have had that
okay.
where, you know how close you are to the end.
Right.
All the books I read, you just flipped around different pages.
Have you
depending
ever
on
read a
what-
book? Just out of
No,
curiosity.
You
I used
like
to-
a
I used to
choose
be
your own
big reader.
adventure?
I used to be a really big reader.
Dude, you really? Like, what was your favorite author? I
because I'm
came
super
close.
nerdy.
I came close to saying Arthur, but I didn't. I said author. I just want to make it clear.
Nice save.
Thank you.
There was this kids series by this guy named Brian Jacques, and it was called the Redwall series, and it were basically adventure books. But all the characters were animals. But that was my favorite.
Brian-
And Animorphs. Animorphs were fucking awesome.
Brian Jacques
Yeah,
and Animorphs.
yeah. Animorphs was
So
like a
when you
sci-fi.
say you used to be a big reader, you mean like until you were 7? Is what I'm hearing?
No. I guess until junior high.
So about the time that picture was taken that you posted that you're so proud of.
Yeah.
Until junior high. So elementary school, you were a big reader.
I was a big reader in junior high. Midway through junior high, I stopped reading.
What did you switch to? What was your new thing?
Working
I don't know,
out.
not reading? No, fuck working out.
What about you, Gus? What did you read when you were younger?
I've always hated reading.
Really?
I've never really been a fan.
Man,
When I was a kid, probably the same age as Brandon, like elementary and junior high, I'm sure I read a ton. But
Like Goosebumps?
no, I hated that. I think I was a little too old for it. I think that came along when I was already
Yeah,
older.
my brother was into them. It was kind of like a few years after me.
Yeah. When I was really little, I remember reading, like when I was in elementary, I remember reading like all the Encyclopedia Brown books.
Yeah.
Really, this like we're talking about kids' books. This is
Yeah,
what you guys
I was
read?
a kid. I was in elementary. I mean,
So you never read as an adult? You never?
very limited stuff.
Interesting.
What about you?
Yeah,
Who was your favorite author
I've
as a
read
kid?
Well, like when I was a teenager, I really liked Stephen King a lot, which I'm not too proud of anymore. But he wrote Shawshank Redemption, you know, and I read all those short stories. I think it's one of his Bachman books. I read a ton of Piers Anthony.
I did too.
Yeah, Orson Scott Card. I've read a lot of sci-fi, Asimov, you know, Ray Bradbury. You must have read that
Yeah,
stuff.
I've read sci-fi.
Speaking of Pierce Anthony, Jeff and I just ordered Spell for Chameleon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to read it together.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You guys, that's really cute that you guys read books together like that.
It's been a while.
Can we talk about this, that your name is Griffin because of Piers
No,
Anthony?
and we can't talk. Oh, God. I shouldn't have brought this up.
Okay. I want to talk about it then.
It's not because of that. You guys are assholes. Let's just drop it.
Griffin, when she was a teenager, she had a pen pal relationship with Piers Anthony, who is a guy that I read a ton as a teenager.
It was
well.
with him or somebody working for him.
Sure. And it wasn't like, you know, you weren't sending pictures or anything like that.
It was
I
pre-mobile
sent
phones and
drawings.
pre-internet.
You sent drawings. Mm-hmm. And so that's why Griffin, her name.
I just liked Griffins, but yeah, I sent him some character ideas, and one of them was part Griffin. Yeah.
So you sent him character. Did he ever incorporate?
Yeah.
Aren't you included in one of his books?
And Harpy Time, and then Jan Ilwind. There's some other character ideas. But he like halfway through the series, he pretty much all of his books were just written ways to figure out how to incorporate all the fan. It was just fan service, like at halfway through the books.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like, and then in the back would be like a whole, like several pages of just thank you to people who sent in suggestions or whatever.
What about you ever read any sci-fi? Because that's more fantasy. You ever read any sci-fi stuff growing up?
Yeah, but a lot of it was like his sci-fi.
Oh, yeah?
Or like fantasy sci-fi combined.
Like his Incarnations of Immortality series or the Adept
Well,
series?
I read those, and I read some of the Adept series. And he wrote Total Recall.
Piers, yeah, okay. All right.
So he had some sci-fi, but a lot of his sci-fi was like a mix of fantasy and sci-fi.
What you up to, guys?
Nothing. What are you doing?
No.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about books.
Yeah.
Anyway, but, you know, and it's one of those things too. It's like authors that you like when you're younger. Not to disparage Mr. Anthony, but as you get older, you look back on it and you're like, you know,
Weren't you wasn't The Schedule, your movie, influenced by the Incarnations of Immortality
yeah, On a
series?
Pale Horse. I would definitely say so in some ways, for sure. Yeah, because I read that when I was younger. It's not, you know, anybody who read that book and liked it would not see any similarities, I don't think, aside from the death aspect of it. Where it's a guy, On a Pale Horse is a book about a guy who is going to kill himself. He's at the end of his rope, and it's at a point in the future where magic has been rediscovered as an actual, I don't want to say like science, but yeah, it's like it's a field of study, and it stands on par with science in this world that he's created. Anyway, he goes to kill himself, and in the moment when he does, somebody walks in the room and he panics and shoots that person, and it turns out he shoots the Grim Reaper, and he has to then take the place of the Grim Reaper. That's how that office is passed on, you know, because it's associated with death, and so he takes over the office of death, and he has to go collect souls that are in balance, right? Like people who are close.
God, it's been a really long time. He collects souls that, what you said, in balance?
Yeah, they're close to good and evil. Like they're not good enough or evil enough to take care of themselves.
I feel like I remember, wasn't that book kind of almost like vignettes where it was like everyone's little like life story, and then he would go like encounter them, or was it more of just about him?
I don't know. It's
Been a long
time
time ago.
too.
And in that series, each book was covering another incarnation, like another being or person. You know, like there was a Gaia one.
Another incarnation of death?
No, like I don't know, like what would you say, like a figurehead, like.
Yeah, like time is one of them.
One of them is like the Fates or Fate. Like, and then there's, Kronos or whatever.
Yep,
the time
and then
guy.
War, and then the last one, Nature is one of them, and then Fate, and then he even goes into God and to Satan as well. So he covers like the 5 major ones, and then God and Satan.
Okay.
No, I kind of want to get on a Piers Anthony kick again.
Yeah, sure you could. I mean, I enjoyed those books when I read them, you know?
I just don't know if I don't think they would hold up. I don't know. Like, I had to stop reading the Zant series because a lot of his like political stuff started seeping in. Like, he had some anti-gay comments in a couple of his books, and I just had to stop reading.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
rough. Yeah, and also like a lot of his sex stuff.
It's creepy. It's like always 14-year-old girls.
Yeah, it was appealing to me when I was that age, and then older, I was like, when I would go back and reread stuff, like, whoa, should I, you know?
Yeah,
this
and then
is-
you see a picture of him, and you're like, this guy's just like kind of an old creep.
Yeah, and you're writing the letters.
I should
him.
call him
I
adult.
was fucking 13, 14 when I was writing to him too, and he wrote back, or somebody did. Yeah.
And nothing suspect at all, right?
I don't know. I wonder if I still have those letters. I'll have to look and see. They might be in a box somewhere.
Should find them.
I should.
But you know what? We talk about the progress bar thing. There's a thing that I kind of got away from reading just because it was a really weird thing where whenever I used to read some really long books. I think one like The Stand by Stephen King and It by Stephen King. I mean, these are like 1,300-page novels, you know? And you get to the end of it. This is the whole reason I got this reading thing when I was mentioning we get to the end of a progress bar, you get to the end of a book. You know that getting to the end of a book, I never liked the feeling of finishing a book. It was like this weird feeling of like I don't know how to describe it. I almost had like a feeling of loss in a way. Like when you're
finality.
with a book so
Yeah.
long, it's almost like this melancholy feeling of like it's like instant nostalgia almost,
Yeah.
and an intense feeling of it when I would finish a long book, and it's a feeling that I only associate with reading.
Because I don't think you're going to go back and reread a book. Have you ever go
Yeah,
back and
well,
read?
some
and
people
then you
do.
can't recapture that feeling either. Too, it's a
Yeah.
very I don't know. It's a really intense memory that I have.
Some,
I read
some
The
books
Stand.
you can.
I remember now.
Some books you can recapture the feeling if you really love them,
Yeah,
or they
yeah.
did change. Like, and this is
You wait for the movie adaptation.
no, but like if you've ever like there's like The Little Prince, I love, but every time I read it, like I see something else because I read it like years apart, and then I'll read it and I'll be like, oh, I see it. Something else from the book will be highlighted to me.
Sure,
You know, and that's an easy one because it's so short. You can read it in an hour. You
like
know?
Where the Wild Things Are too.
I think it depends on the ending.
It's a
too.
different kind of book, but when I saw the movie, I was like, "That's not based on the book that I read."
Yeah.
And then I went and read. It, I go, "Oh, this book's totally different than what I remember it being."
And yeah, it's so open ended too that
Yeah,
I think it depends on the ending. I remember the Godfather was a really, really good book, way different from the movie, and the ending was just like really, really touching. It was like one of those things you're just like, oh, poetic. And I mean, I think if you end on like a really cool note, it's easier to just put the book away and be okay with it. So I think it does depend on the way it ends.
but you can miss characters. Like if
in
you,
a way that you don't miss with movies or TV.
yeah, because you are inside their brains more. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
Plus, I guess with TV or movies, it's easier to recapture. You know what you want to dedicate 2 hours to.
I didn't have that feeling when Lost
movie.
ended. It was
Yeah.
just like, is this an appropriate ending or not? Yes, check. Good. They covered this. Okay, but I didn't have that feeling of like,
Have you ever cried like in a book, like when something happened?
pardon me, no. Where did that come from? Have I ever cried at a book? I guess if I would have cried at one, it would have been Old Yeller.
Oh,
I cried about some of the fucking books I had to read, like the Iliad and the Odyssey.
You
Oh,
just
God,
cried
yeah.
to get
Christ, God,
I've read those too. Those are fucking
brutal.
brutal. Those would beat you. I read the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the other one. What's it called? The Aeneid, or whatever that third one is. Oh my
Odyssey
god!
is good for like one section. They have the two cool monsters and the whole thing, and they're right after one another. It's like once everything before that and everything after that is just boring. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And then the big
what?
the big whirlpool guy.
Oh,
The Kraken? Is that who it is? The
Looks like the thing from Tatooine in the water.
the Sarlacc pit.
Sarlacc.
That I know.
What-
Unfortunately, those classics I know.
It's Charybdis, or is that what it was called?
I don't remember.
Scylla or Charybdis? I think I forget which one it was.
oh, I think it's the first one you said.
Scylla.
I feel like it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was a sea monkey. That's what I think it was. So we haven't talked about the Bin Laden thing. Do we want to talk about that? It seems weird that we would go through a whole podcast and not talk about something that's going on right now.
Did
That's
something happen?
epic history. Well, we talk about the books like reading the Iliad and the Odyssey. If you don't know, Osama bin Laden was shot by Navy SEALs. They had an operation where they went in and picked him out of a compound in Pakistan. He was
In the suburbs.
in a $1 million mansion.
That's
in
the
Pakistan.
shittiest $1 million mansion I've ever
Dude,
seen.
all I'm saying is buy real estate in Pakistan. That's a $1 million house, dude. It didn't have internet or telephone. Holy cow. I mean, that's like, those are like, is everyone from LA like transplanting over to Pakistan? Here's the other, and I don't want too light of this because, I mean, it's the bookend of a very tragic event and it ended with, storming in and shooting somebody in the head. But at the same sense, it's like, the craziness of it is, what if that thing had gone wrong? That could have killed
Yeah.
Obama's presidency. I mean, he's flying 2 Blackhawks into Pakistan. What if they got shot down? All those guys died.
One of
And
the
it could-
helicopters was damaged. They had to blow it up.
Yeah, it could have been like Jimmy Carter trying to rescue the hostages all over again.
Or
the
Bay of Pigs.
Or Bay
Yeah,
of
the
Pigs,
It
yeah.
could have easily been a Bay of Pigs. And it's like Cuba was an enemy at the very least. I mean, Pakistan's not an enemy. And we're in there and we're shit. And wasn't the weird thing about this mansion is that it's right in the middle of essentially the Pakistani West Point town?
It's close to it. Yeah, it's in the town, and it's like half a mile away from the facility.
Right, their military academy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I mean, it's so crazy to me. Like, everyone is saying they're now, like, giving the evil eye to Pakistan now and being skeptical because they're saying, how could he be here in this compound with all the Pakistan military being trained all around it in a military town and nobody noticed this and nobody found him? It seemed clear they were almost hiding, maybe even guarding him. What I find weird about it is we flew 2 Black Hawk helicopters into a nuclear power. I mean, Pakistan is a nuclear power. I don't know if they're on the UN Security Council. I don't think they are.
I don't think so.
But they're a nuclear power.
Yes.
And there aren't many countries that are. We just flew in there with 2 Black Hawks.
And 2 Chinooks, I think, as well.
Pretty deep. I mean, it's pretty deep into the border.
It's like 90 miles from the capital, I think.
Yeah. We fly in, land, shoot up the place, stay there for 40 minutes gathering intel, blow up our own helicopter, which was damaged, land other helicopters to replace the new helicopter that was exploded or demolished, then fly away. 40 minutes, and they were in their military town. They weren't attacked by the Pakistani military.
Yeah, I feel like if someone came and landed helicopters half a mile away from West Point, someone would go investigate.
How about your neighborhood? I mean, if like 911, it's like, hey, you know that house on the hill? Just like 2 helicopters just landed.
Well,
There's a lot of shooting.
There was a guy who was tweeting all that stuff. And I don't know if he said the power was out or not, but I mean, he was doing live updates. He's like, it sounded like a helicopter crashed. Now it sounded like it exploded.
Yeah, that was the crazy part, that there's a dude who speaks English or types English really well, is on Twitter, and is like half a mile away or a mile or 2 away from where all this is happening.
It's easy to assume because we're at war and these are Navy SEALs that they're in a war, theater. They're in a theater of war, right? Where they're landing. Pakistan's not at war.
No.
There should be no reason why helicopters would be landing and shooting in the middle of a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And there was no cops. I mean, they're a nuclear power. Is that like the difference between the top echelon of civilized worlds and other places in civilized countries?
We don't know what kind of notice was given to Pakistan, even if it
we
was
were
only
told
like
none.
30 minutes before or something. I mean, they didn't talk to the government about, we think Bin Laden is here.
Maybe they did what you did. They called the local police department. They're like, hey, we're going to be filming a movie up at the house on the hill. We're going to be firing some prop guns and flying some helicopters around. So if you hear anything, just disregard it.
I mean, they're there 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is there no police in that country? It's crazy. Don't they have radar?
I know. That's
They
crazy.
have nuclear weapons, but
It's been speculated that the helicopters that they used were retrofitted with fake IFF systems to make the Pakistanis think that it was their own aircraft. But who knows? Who knows what the truth
that
is?
sounds like someone from Battlestar Galactica, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Didn't they do that with one of the Cylon ships?
I think so, yeah.
Then they waggled the wings as they were coming in.
And they also did that in Independence Day when they uploaded the virus to the mothership.
Yeah, that's using it against them. But then they should know when it crashed. They just said, "Oh, that's a U.S. Black Hawk." If it crashed,
Don't you want to know what was in the house? Like, not intelligence-wise, just like what? Well, I mean, like
Like
did they have,
how it's decorated,
Cheetos or
or
like,
there's video footage of it.
is there really?
Yeah, post.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not a nice layer. It looks like a frat house almost.
Well, they were speculating he was living in a cave, so it's better than a cave.
Yeah,
So he had that going for him.
hell of a lot better. You think it's also propaganda that they call it $1 million house? In a way,
I don't know.
because it makes it seem like part of the propaganda effort, or I guess intelligence effort they made initially when they invaded Iraq was we dropped photos of Osama in a Western suit, like photoshopped, like he was wearing Western clothes, and that he had abandoned, and now he was in the West, and that was a way to demoralize,
Interesting.
Yeah.
There was speaking of Photoshop pictures, a lot of newspapers in other countries ran a photoshopped image of Osama bin Laden shot, saying that was the photo of him dead.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was just a Photoshop.
It was like a
job.
Two-Face effect, like Two-Face from the last Batman movie. They just kind of applied like a texture on his face that looked like burned, or
Yeah.
a little
And a
red
hole.
spot. Yeah.
And you know what? You can't put that toothpaste back in a tube. I mean, once that's out there, people see it and they think that's the real photo.
They're talking about releasing the photo here, one of the actual photos, and I don't think there's any need to.
I would imagine that would look fucked up.
Yeah.
Like if you ever went hunting, like deer hunting before, when a bullet exits something, it's an explosion. Like it's not like a nice little red. Like his face will be missing.
Yeah, the entry hole may be small,
yeah.
but that exit wound's going to be
If they
huge.
shot him from the front, though, it would just be a normal bullet hole.
So they wouldn't show the back of his head.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. It depends.
I don't think they should release it.
I don't think they should release it either. But it's one of those things where a lot of people have opinions, and it's like, what's the right thing to do here?
Yeah.
You know?
How do you think they buried him at sea? Like, I mean, how do you think they got him off the ship? I mean, did they just like throw the body over? Or was it like on a board that they like?
I think the
That-
board is
that's
usually the way
board.
they do it.
Yeah.
Really?
Wait.
I think there's procedure for it, and I think that's how they do it.
I wonder if he gets like caught on the edge of the ship and like, oh, somebody go cut him off.
Awful.
All right.
Right. So you said buried at sea?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
According to Islamic law, you have to bury a body within 24 hours. And so, there's now radical clerics who are saying that it was done to humiliate him the way they buried him at sea. But the U.S. government is saying that this is something that's allowable.
Yeah,
Well-
from what I've read, the only time like a burial at sea is allowable like that is if I forget, there were two scenarios, but one of the scenarios was if there's fear that the grave where the person's buried will be disturbed or dug up. And they said that they
Or
felt
if they died on a ship.
right.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. I thought it was if for some reason you could not bury them where they had died. But I think the reason the government did is they didn't want, radical extremists going to the gravesite and worshiping it, like it being a place you visit,
Right.
like Mecca.
Or to return his body and then have it be like lie in state. But that wouldn't be allowed either.
Right.
Right? So,
It seems like based on that bit of information, it seems like the best compromise.
I couldn't believe that he was still alive.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about him in years.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
for
I
sure
agree.
he was
They
dead.
said years ago that he had kidney problems and needed dialysis and stuff.
Right.
It's like, he can't be alive.
And he was in a cave.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff.
That's another one of those things, like trying to explain to a kid, like with the cop thing, like trying to explain why everyone's cheering because somebody's dead to a kid,
A lot of people that we know who don't live in the U.S. were asking me about that. Like, are people in the streets cheering in Austin? I said, not at all.
I was kind of annoyed by.
That's two
by
crowds.
that.
It's one crowd in Times Square and one crowd outside the White House. It's literally probably 400 people at the most.
And it's the two places that were attacked. I mean, Washington D.C. was attacked. New York was attacked. I mean, I think there's a certain level of like understanding that should go with that.
I mean, listen, I don't begrudge anybody for the way they react to it. It's bizarre to say the least. I mean, it's like this is one person, and it's not even like. I mean, the best you can compare it to would be Hitler, but Hitler essentially was a leader. We killed him. It's symbolic of us getting to Berlin. We get to Hitler, and the war's over. You know what I mean? Even when we kill this guy, it's like this isn't over. This is just a step in the process. It's like this is literally just justice for one guy.
There have been other more important people captured and or killed over the years, but you don't celebrate that.
Yeah.
It's symbolic, I guess.
Yeah, there was a guy who released a statement. He's a father, one of the guys, and it was just like, just rip you to shreds reading it. How he wasn't going to celebrate, doesn't bring his son back, doesn't change any of that stuff. And it's just like talks all about his son, how he hears people talking about closure, and he appreciates that because it's other people hoping that the passage of time will lessen his pain. He said, "I can tell you that the passage of time is not lessen the loss of my son in any way." It's horrible, horrible.
That's rough.
Tear you up. Can I read something real quick from Obama's statement?
Do it.
Of all the things, this is the most disturbing. And I have a weird thing, too, where we were talking about the, Iliad and the Odyssey and those old epics. I think I learned from that. I always thought that one of the basic tenets of warfare was that you return bodies. Like, that you let people collect their dead. And I thought that was a rule of warfare, which always sounds so stupid to say, but, I thought it was, but apparently it's not. That you don't have to return bodies.
Where would you return it to? Like, I guess
His
to family? Okay.
Yeah. Or you just leave it. You don't take the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't typically in warfare shoot people and then cart the bodies away.
But if there was a question about proof or whatever, maybe. But then, I mean, you have cameras or whatever. But even that, like you said, Photoshop. Like, you need more physical proof now because everything is so easily faked.
It's one of those things too with a body in particular, especially with a religious figure. A dead body can be a big deal, especially if the body goes away. And then what happened? Oh, he's you never know what can happen. So obviously there's tactical reasons for it. Let's put it this way: I'm glad I'm not the guy who has to make those decisions.
Right.
About what to do with somebody's dead body. But this was an actual thing that the whole thing. This disturbed me in the process, and this was Obama what he said about it. He said, this is the end of his statement. He said, "The cause of securing our country is not complete, but tonight we are once again reminded that America can do whatever we set our mind to. that is the story of our history, whether it's the pursuit of prosperity for our people or the struggle for equality for all our citizens, our commitment to stand up for our values abroad, and our sacrifices to make the world a safer place. Talking about that Americans can do whatever we set our mind to, that seems like a really weird context for this thing to me. Like, that's what I would normally associate with landing a man on the moon. Or even as far as, like, splitting the atom in the Manhattan Project. At least that is a scientific endeavor, you know? That is people working together for something that can bring about a greater good. It just seems like a weird thing to put in context of guys kicking in a door and shooting somebody in the head.
I could see that. Like, you want to associate with more positive for the greater good things. And not that this was a bad thing, but it's almost got, like, negative connotations to it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I guess he was just going from more the angle that no one really thought we could do this. I mean, everybody thought we'd be searching hundreds of miles of caves, you know.
It's
so,
probably
like, it's
embarrassing.
a landmark, achievement. But I understand what you're saying. It's just that's happy imagery that you want to think about when you hear rhetoric like that, you know, like the positive things we can do.
It was a power speech, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was a calculated power speech, and that's what he was doing. So
Yeah.
it was sending a message.
Listen, he said he was gonna go find the guy, and he said he'd go into Pakistan if he had to. He said that during the campaign, and yeah, he did it.
It only cost us a lot of money and a lot of years and a lot of lives.
Dude, have you read about these guys that went in there?
Man, yeah, I read, yeah.
Average age of the strike team was 38 years old.
Really?
These guys are all average 2 decades of military experience.
Yeah,
They're
they have to spend years in the SEALs before they're even they can even be thought of for being selected for that team.
I can read some
Was
of
it
these.
called Team 6?
Team
SEAL
6.
It was they named it 6 because at the time they had 3. It was the third SEAL team they created. It was during the Cold War. They wanted the Soviets to think they had a ton of them. So instead of naming them SEAL Team 3, they named them SEAL Team 6. I read a story about an old mission they did in Grenada, where I guess the mission kind of went sideways. They ran out of ammo. They were outgunned. They were going to lose this position they were supposed to hold, and they were on the beach. They were on the shore, so they were supposed to defend this radio tower. They couldn't do it. They blew up the radio tower, and since they were out of ammo, the solution was we're going to swim out into the ocean for 6 hours. So they just left, and they just swam out into the ocean, swam in the ocean for 6 hours. Eventually, a plane spotted them, and then sent a boat to pick them up.
Wow.
Like it's like okay, let's leave, start swimming. I can't imagine doing that, man. I couldn't swim for 30 minutes.
To swim into the ocean. I mean, think about that. You're swimming into open sea, and then behind you have enemy forces. That's like your 2 choices. Wow.
Surprised you're giving yourself 30 minutes, Gus.
Yeah, that's being super generous. That's in a swimming pool.
With like one of those little floaty.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it true that one of them was a UT journalism grad? Where did that come from?
Yeah, he was the leader of the team. That was the Austin American Statesman reported that. I just like the idea of this team of elite forces swimming out of the ocean, and then there's like one Private Sorolla who's like, seaweed touched my leg!
I've got a cramp. I just ate 30 minutes ago. I can't go in there.
I just ate an MRE.
I'm gonna get cramps.
Man.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
But they are those guys, they went in there, they had no casualties on the American side. They stormed in, and I would imagine they were prepared in some way for somebody at some point to be coming for Osama bin Laden. And then they hear these helicopters coming. They crash one of them outside. They have to land the other one next to it for, I guess, operation safety purposes. Then they had to go through 3 walls of the compound. And they get in there, take them out. No American casualties. That seems insane to me.
it sounds like an action movie, like unbelievable action movie.
Let's just use those guys for everything. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Team 6, that's going to be a movie. I mean, like, the name alone, that's
Well, they already
an
had
awesome
They already
movie.
had that Charlie Sheen movie in the '80s, Navy SEALs. You ever see that?
Team 6, though.
Team 6.
I mean, it's hard to fathom what one of those guys' lives is like his average daily life. You know, they train constantly. And it's just like, do they go home and it's just like, does he like just go into a box and they shut the box? You know what I mean? It just seems like
if like their kids misbehaving or acting up, you think they put their kid in a sleeper hold and like knock him out? You're
no.
like, all right,
I don't think they give a
Just
shit about.
just lay down.
I don't think you would have kids.
I don't think they give a shit about anything at all. I can't imagine they would.
What was the movie that won the Oscar a couple years ago? Hurt Locker?
Yeah.
That was like one of the major parts when, one of the bomb guys goes back home, and he's living in the real world. And that's the thing that feels weird and where he doesn't get along with, it's,
Oh, that's why he keeps going back out.
yeah, it's just unnatural.
I would think that if you had that profession, though, you wouldn't bother having a family because you want to be prepared to let go of your life at any point, right?
You never know. I mean, you
But
never know.
I think typically these people start later. You know, they've been in
Yeah.
the military a long time, so maybe they had a family already and started, and then this came along.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Just like this anonymous archetype, you know, these guys that they're just. I just imagine they go home, they sit on the edge of the bed, they stare at the wall, and then the phone rings, and they're like, "Okay, I'm coming."
Yeah, they're waiting
You
for
know?
the phone.
Yeah, it's like they're there like 2 weeks. Like I just can't imagine.
Personality-wise, they try to get rid of the really boisterous guys, you know, like the ones who feel like hotshots.
Yeah, the cowboys or
Yeah.
who want to do things on their own.
Yeah. The Mavericks.
Yeah. We should, not to derail our interesting conversation, but we need to wrap up here pretty soon.
Sure. Well, in closing and all that, I hope that we talk about the bookend of Bin Laden being killed. Hope that is a bookend for some people. I hope that brings, you know, even though that father, that guy said, you know, closure. Hope it brings some peace to a lot of people, you know, for everything that happened. Because I remember, you know, it's good to know that guy in particular will not have the ability to create the amount of fear and horror that he created. Because I remember that very vividly. And at the very least, we can say he won't be creating that again.
That's very true.
Yeah.
On that somber note, have a good day. Thank you for listening.
Thank
Bye.
you.